Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Mo Amin on the line, and he's CEO and president over at Exclusive Calls. Mo, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, Mo, so I'm excited to get into today's topic. So we're going to get into exclusive calls and how companies are using your company. But before we do that, let's go a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in business and as an entrepreneur?
Well, I think business has always been in my bloodstream. So I was a kid, lemonade stands, car washes, buying baseball cards, finding one that's worth a little bit more, selling that, buying more baseball cards. So I think it's always just been in my bloodstream. Most likely got it from my father because he's always been an entrepreneur. And it just kind of evolved. Every opportunity that I was able to find, I kept trying to learn more about it. And I'm always about how can I make something better? How can I make it more efficient? And I think that is how my life as being an entrepreneur started.
Man, that's awesome. I love that. And so, there's some younger entrepreneurs out there that aren't quite as far along as you in business. I mean, you've had now Exclusive Calls for well over a decade, and you have other businesses, in your history. I mean, for that young entrepreneur that's maybe just out there right now listening to this, getting started, what kind of advice would you give them now that you're further along on your path?
The advice that I would give to anyone listening that's younger, that just wants to get started, I would say just do it. You just have to visualize it, put a game plan, set some goals up, and make sure your goals are in writing, and you just have to move forward because you will fail. Failure is part of it. I've definitely failed many times, but every time I failed, I have learned something, and that's the part that is important. Make sure you learn from every single failure. You got to keep trucking forward, and if you really want it, and you can get obsessed over whatever that is that you really want, I promise you, you will get so close to it more than you ever thought before. Because to this day, I look back and I go, wow, how did I get here? This is amazing. Still have a long way to go. And I think that's what I would give advice to the younger folks just getting started.
No, that's awesome. And so that brings me to today's topic. So Exclusive Calls, I'm excited about what you're doing. You're helping a lot of companies out there. First off, maybe just tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Absolutely. Exclusive Calls started in 2008. At Exclusive Calls, we recruit, train, hire, monitor, manage, and coach appointment setters so that our customers can focus on sales. As a result, our customers save time, energy, and money when they partner up with us to be their appointment setting engine. So tell us a little bit more about how the service works. There's a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives listening right now, and I'll tell you, they're like, all right, so wait a minute. I've heard of appointment setters in the past. Maybe they tried a company, it didn't work. I don't know, but you've been in business for a long time. That's the key here. You're not new to this game. You've seen it all. So you're over 10 years in this business. So tell us a little bit more about the processes you've created. Absolutely. The first thing and foremost about Exclusive Calls, we hire slowly. So we have a 60-day training process. And what we've seen with companies who fail to hire in-house appointment setters, one of the things that they hire quickly. So we hire slowly. It's a 60-day training process. And what we're looking for is this person that came to interview with us the same person a month from now? Is the same person 2 months from now? And at the end of the 60 days, the third month, we're saying, is this the same person, the same positive individual with that high energy team player? Is this the same person? And if they are, usually they're not, about 90% fail, we end up keeping them and make them into our staff. So what we do at Exclusive Calls is companies of all sizes, whether they're small or big organizations, they usually hire internal appointment setters, but they're not in the business of managing, monitoring, coaching, hiring internal appointment setters. They know their product or service. They know how to manage salespeople. They know how to do sales. And appointment setters, they're in a league of their own. I call it adult babysitting. You have to always coach them. You have to have your quality assurance reps barging in. You got to have your team leaders making sure that people are sitting up straight, making the calls back to back. And so with our organization, companies can grow their sales by hiring our appointment setters instead of trying to have in-house appointment setters, where a lot of the companies we speak to, they always are complaining about, oh, I hired this person, they were great, or they disappeared after 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months, or cold calling doesn't work, or outbound calling doesn't work. I had someone and it didn't work. And honestly, at the end of it, we find out they're not in the business of having in-house appointment setters. They want to treat them like salespeople or like an admin or a customer service rep, and they're not. It's a very specific individual that's going to be good at making outbound calls and good at making outbound calls consistently with the same tone, the same positive energy, because you have to have thick skin. Even if someone filled out your online form and you called them, there's a chance they might have forgot they filled out your online form and they could be rude to you. But if you give the wrong person on the phone, that one person being rude to your caller, it ruins that person's day, right?
Wow.
If you have the right person on the phone, they just brush it off their shoulders, move on to the next call. They know that person probably is having a bad day, and they'll give that person a call tomorrow, hoping that tomorrow will be a better day for them.
Man, that's awesome. I love it. And it makes a lot of sense. What kind of businesses and or niches or industries? I mean, give us a feel for the people listening right now. They're like, this sounds too good to be true. I don't know if it'll work for my business. I mean, what kind of businesses do you like working with?
We have, we love all businesses, but at the end of the day, we have a lot of insurance agents. A couple of big Fortune 500 insurance corporations are using us for their recruiting calls and for their agents to use us for their outbound calls. We have real estate agents. We have companies that do water testing. We have the companies that sell those bathtubs that open up and the floors that non-slip for elderly folks. We have solar companies that utilize our services. Mortgage companies that utilize our services. We have a couple furniture companies, believe it or not, using our services. Home improvement companies using our services, just to list a few. So really any business that has any type of leads, whether it's people that filled out an online form, people that they had quoted at one point and didn't show interest or never answered their phones again, or past customers, any type of leads they have, our callers are trained to make these calls. And the beauty of our service is we assign the same exact person or individual. So if you hire a team of people, it's the same exact individuals, same exact time block, working just for that client, just like it would if they had someone physically in their office. We're using their caller ID and representing that company's name. So the prospects just think that we are like sitting in that client's office making these outbound calls for them. So it's very seamless. So our customers don't, it's literally like having your own in-house team of callers.
Wow, that's amazing. And let's talk about size of company. Like, is this appropriate for only enterprise or for small businesses? Are you able to hire 1 or 10, or like how does all that part of it work?
Yeah, so the beauty of us is we're open to all of it. So we, like I said, we have couple Fortune 500 contracts. They have a few hundred callers from us. But then we have these small businesses that have 1 or 2 callers from us. And we're open to that because if we can help these businesses grow, then they're going to add more callers from us and they'll continuously grow with us. So when they grow, we grow. So it's in our best interest to make sure that we give them good quality appointments, keep their pipelines full, and again, making sure that they get enough leads for their sales reps so that they can grow. Because we really would love, and we see it over and over again, they grow with us. Because when they add another employee, they add another salesperson, they're growing, we're growing. So really any size organization can utilize us that just doesn't have the time, the manpower, the energy, the experience, the expertise in doing these outbound calls. Cold calling is not dead. Outbound calling is not dead. I can tell you in the pandemic, our business has boomed because connecting with people is more important than ever.
Man, that's great. And can you talk maybe a little bit more on what you just said? Because that was actually my next question, and that is cold calling dead? Like, why isn't it dead? Because I know you're in the business, so you're seeing it day in and day out. So I tell people that all the time. But for me, I'm not a professional in that, right? So it's just my opinion. But for you, you're seeing companies generate revenue from this every single day. So talk a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So right now, again, as I said, more importantly than ever, connecting with people is so important. People were used to going to their coffee shops, their retail stores, and talking to people and just having conversations all the time. And what we've noticed during this pandemic is that our talk times have become a lot longer than they used to be. So when we would call somebody and say, hi, I'm giving you a call about this product or service, how are you doing today? They actually start, I'm good. How are you? What's going on? How's COVID, in your life? And then you just ask them like a simple question like, how do you feel about coronavirus? Has it impacted your life? And they'll spend like the next 3 to 5 minutes talking because they want to talk to someone. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've seen. Talk times have gone up. People want to connect. People are hanging up less. So it's been absolutely advantageous for any business that is utilizing our services or hiring someone in their own office to make these outbound calls because people want to talk. They want to talk about themselves. They want to talk about sometimes actually you got to believe it. People sell themselves. If you just ask the right question, you be quiet and you let them speak, they will tell you exactly what they're looking for, which makes a salesperson's job extremely easy because you just show them, oh yeah, that's it. Those are the stuff you need. Here you go. This is the perfect product or service for you.
That's amazing. I like it. And I mean, it just makes a lot of sense. What you're doing, how you're doing it, and the way it's managed. I mean, it's just a really top-notch shop that you're running. So, Mo, that being said, I could talk about this all day long, but we're about out of time for this episode. If somebody's listening to this and they want to connect with you and your team over at Exclusive Calls because they want to hire a professional that's in the business of appointment setters, they don't want to have to manage this on the back end themselves or kind of experiment or think this is an admin. I mean, this is what you do. If somebody wants to connect with Exclusive Calls, what's the best way for them to do that?
Best way, you could call or text 888-484-3515 or email info@exclusivecalls.com.
What's that phone number again, Mo?
888-484-3515 or email info@exclusivecalls.com.
Fantastic. And I knew you better have left a phone number after this whole thing about phone calls. I'm like, he better leave a number. I knew you would, Mo. You didn't let me down. If you would have left a number, I don't know how this might not have got released. I was going to be like, wait a minute, is this guy for real? He didn't leave his phone, like a number? He's freaking running a call centers.
I do want to add one thing out there for anyone that's listening to know that if they want to utilize our services, we do give all our customers back-end access to the portal so they can see every single phone call made by the specific callers working for them. So they're able to track every disposition, every single phone call. That is also there for them to see.
Man, that's awesome. Well, hey, Mo, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work that you're doing over at Exclusive Calls to help your clients. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Mo, thanks again for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you, Adam.